Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Nixon. I am a creativity strategist and the president of Figure Eight Thinking. I'm also the author of The Creativity Leap, this book right here. And I'm really excited to be joined by the author of this book, Imagine It Forward, Beth Comstock, who is an author and the former vice chair of GE. Beth, it's awesome to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Natalie. Great to see you. Glad you're hanging in there during this crazy time. Hopefully, a time made for creativity.
I think so, and we'll look back on this time, I hope, and just be really impressed with all the leaps that people are making. This is the time for it. So speaking of leaps, I first wanted to ask you to share a story about a time when you have made a creativity leap.
Well, I think the story that comes to mind most is what I'm doing right now, which is I'm in the middle of a creativity leap. Right now, I left my business career a few years ago, put out a book, which I had never done before. That was a creativity leap. And now I've decided to take a little bit of time and explore my own creativity. I spent all my work focused on business creativity, and now I'm trying to figure out what it means for me personally. So I'm in a big creative leap right now. It's scary. I don't know where I'm going. When I was in business, I worked at GE for much of that time. To me, creative leaps were just the calling of what our team had to do. I'd say the one I'm most proud of was when we took a real creative leap to go forward in clean tech in an industrial setting. We called it eco-imagination. It was about imagining a world where industry could be part of the solution. And it was a huge leap for us, for our teams to go there. Some customers were very nervous. In fact, one customer pulled away their business. We kept going. And in the end, it was the right thing to do because we knew the market was hungry for it. So sometimes a creative leap is staring, the opportunity is there, and it's more the leap than the creativity. But for us, it was about taking something like the idea of imagination and ecology and putting them together and saying to our customers, hey, we can do this together. Let's take the leap together. And it was very powerful by doing it together.
I love that example also because of the immense amounts of creativity there is in engineering and in science. The best scientists and engineers are incredibly creative. And your example also points out the role of collaboration, in this case with your customers. I don't want to leave your other creativity leap that you're forging into right now. Can you give us a hint of what's an area of personal creativity that you're thinking about exploring or that you're starting to explore?
Well, I'm big on experimentation, as I know you are, as part of the creative process. And so right now I'm just applying this to myself, experimenting a lot of different things. I've been doing much more creative writing, so not business writing, creative writing, a lot of fiction. I'm part of a writers group. I've been writing poetry. So those things are really getting, I think, tunneling new paths in my brain. I love visual art, and I've been trying my hand at art. And the last thing I'd say is nature, just trying to, as much as I can. Obviously, we're coming out of a pandemic, and getting to nature hasn't always been so easy, but nature is another thing that really inspires me and gives me a creative spark.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good. Love that you're doing poetry. My next question for you is, who do you consider, living or dead, a wonder mentor?
Well, I've in the past few months, I've just been absolutely smitten with Leonardo da Vinci. I have been reading books about him, studying his drawings. I mean, oh my gosh, I would only, what it must be like to be able to get inside that man's mind. And I think he's lasted all this time because he was creative in so many different arenas. He didn't just pick a lane, he picked every lane. And where I feel like he's a mentor and where we have a cosmic psychic bond is in the curiosity arena. I love that he woke up every day just curious to learn. One of my, Walter Isaacson did a really thoughtful book about Leonardo da Vinci that I would recommend. And at the very end, sort of as a final coda, Walter talks about how Leonardo wanted to learn how the tongue of a woodpecker looks and works. And so he just spent time drawing it and understanding it. I mean, that's curiosity.
Right. Deep, deep inquiry. You know, Leonardo da Vinci was a polymath. Do you think in our future of work scenarios that being a polymath is going to become more and more important? Or do you think kind of the deep specialization that we've been emphasizing will still resonate?
Yeah, I've always built my career as somewhat of a generalist. I mean, I was a marketer and then got into innovation, but I think that curiosity serves business people well, and not to feel like they have to have all the answers. And in fact, I found in creativity that really too much expertise sometimes prevents people from seeing what's happening. So I love that Leonardo is a wonder mentor from that perspective, to not let us get too comfortable to just rely on kind of one kind of capability.
Oh, I love that point. Yeah, sometimes too much expertise can be a detriment. That's awesome. So what about your mentor for rigor, dead or alive?
Yeah, surprisingly, I found great inspiration in Twyla Tharp, who is a choreographer, for anyone who doesn't know her work. And she put a book out probably a decade ago called The Creative Habit. And I find it incredibly important for us people who love to think about how to be more creative. And what inspired me about her book was, I mean, she's a choreographer of modern dance, but she really had quite a structured approach to figuring out her moves and her dances, and quite a structured approach to the way she constructed her day. And I think one of the things I take away from reading her book and studying her work is just, without structure, creativity is chaos. And that, I found that very helpful when I worked at GE and we were starting on our creativity and innovation journey. Because as you said, I worked with a lot of engineers, whether they were the mechanical kind or the financial kind. And that being able to say, yeah, you need constraints, and that you need some kind of framework and a practice. That's what Twyla Tharp's book is about, giving you a practice of ways to get comfortable, but to create a discipline about it. And so, believe it or not, I found a choreographer as being someone who inspired me and helped me convince engineers that they could be creative.
Oh, awesome, awesome. And I love Twyla Tharp's quote, her saying that before you can think out of the box, you have to start with a box.
And I love that you pulled that up, Natalie. I mean, and she literally did. She, as you recall, she kept a shoebox.
Yes.
She would stick in note cards. I mean, very old school. But that was it. It was like, if she didn't put her notes in a box, there was no way they were going to get organized.
Yep. Yeah, what an inspiration. Well, two wonderful mentors. It's also interesting to me how often there's a fuzzy boundary between our wonder mentors and our rigor mentors. They can be, you know, they could count for both, but I really like both of yours. Thank you so much for your time, Beth. Are there any final comments or thoughts you want to leave us with?
Well, no, just congratulations on the Creativity Leap. I think it's a great book for people. What I love that you talk about in the book is that there are a lot of people who say, you know, but I'm not creative. This doesn't apply to me. And the reality is that we're all creative. We have creative parts of our being just waiting to get out and be expressed. And I love that you're showing the way with this book. So cheering you on.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a ton. Thank you, Beth. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Natalie. Great to see you.